Evelyn?
Did a full 180, crazy, thinking about the way I was. Did the heartbreak change me, baby?
Oh, great. Pretty good. What do you think? It stinks.
First of all, just want to say, do excuse the sounds in the background. We're still in a heat wave when this was recorded, and we had a thunderstorm more come rolling through. So we'll try to get it out on editing, but some things will sound in the background. Don't worry about that. We'll get that out. But again, we apologize. And wow, I'm so glad, and I'll put this out also. I'm so glad I'm not subscribed to Netflix anymore. I'm really, truly glad. I'm really, truly glad because, I kind of saw something writing on the boards. Mostly what I saw there was some of the anime, some of the shows, some of the shows like from Korea and India and all that I did like. A couple of movies that were there that were okay. But overall, it's not something I would like to be watching all day long. I watch a lot more on Tubi TV, Pluto, let's see, Midnight Pulp, even Hulu. I watch a lot more on Hulu. And you see what Disney is trying to do with Hulu right now. They're trying to get rid of them. We had a story back last week. Disney wants to renege on the deal with Comcast. I say maybe it's better for Comcast or better for someone else to grab it because they think, well, Hulu's going nowhere. They're going nowhere, but they got some great shows. They got some great shows. They got they got the FX stuff. They got Solar Opposites. They got a lot of anime in there and new episodes on that because I saw Spy X Family on there. The Shield Hero was on there. Demon Slayer. I got to see it at the point when it was supposed to air here in the U.S. But now what we're seeing, and I hate to say this, Netflix has just lost another 1 million subscribers, and they're not really caring too much about that. But when you're looking at their programming and what they're bringing in, it's bad enough the live adaptations of anime, the failure of Death Note, which they're going to be doing another one, Cowboy Bebop, they got One Piece coming in the future, and Yu Yu Hakusho. How bad are those going to be? They're pumping money. They have a full studio. Why are they doing this? And they have a chance of getting, some really good anime on there. And, some people says, well, they're going to be in Netflix jail. Yeah, you're trying to drag the fans there, but then meanwhile, you can't keep them there. And I say that's Netflix. And that's why I put to this point. Has Netflix got to the point where they're becoming the CW? Because that's what it's looking like. You doubt me? Look at Resident Evil. Look at the current Resident Evil TV series on there. How bad it is. Even the critics are not liking it. You go over to Rotten Tomatoes and the critic score is 51 and the current audience score is 26%. What does that tell you? It's pure junk. And the way it looks, there's not really zombies in it. The T-virus. You could say, even though he's a good actor, they raised Rob Weskler, but, putting that crazy story aside and the way they discussed that, you had this you saw in the beginning. What the fuck was this dancing going on? And the thing about it is the teen angst. What does that sound like? That sounds like Riverdale. That sounds like every other show on the CW on their current rosters. you've seen what's gone on with the CW. CW is about to get sold to Nexstar. That's about to get signed soon. And guess what? Nexstar doesn't have to pay for it. All they got to do is basically take on the liability of the network. What does that tell you as a network itself, the value of this company? It can be valuable, but right now at this moment, it has no value to it. I've seen dozens of people try to, how can I put it? They try to make excuses for you, even here on YouTube. They try to make excuses for you. Say, well, they're a small network. They're not supposed to expect big ratings like the networks. Well, Supernatural started out around 4 million, about 4 million. It was like, let's say between 2 to 4 million was about the average. Supernatural is within the first couple seasons. After about season 8 or 9, it started to drop off at that point. Flash and Arrow carried on about 2 to 4 million. Vampire Diaries, which is about the highest, which is about 4 to 5 million viewers on there. Then things started to drop, and things dropped drastically below 1 million. If the network stayed within, I would have to say, a million viewers off Nielsen, that'd be okay for them to stay. No, most of the other shows started to fall way below that. 500, 400, 300, 180,000 viewers. Some shows had almost a 0 demo score for 18 to 49. The network was toast, and they're continuing to make this on. And now you're seeing Netflix is going into that direction. Netflix has taken upon themselves to create the similar programming and content just like the CW, because basically Netflix has purchased, remember this, Netflix has purchased some of this product and airs it on Netflix. Does it get some views? Yeah. It's not the fan base. It is those who stayed on watching it over and over because they liked it, which there's nothing against that. You can like the show. However bad the show is, you could still, you can like it. That's your opinion. And I respect that opinion. My opinion is, and from a business point of view, coming from the old school, is when you have a show that's scoring low, you get rid of that show. You saw what happened with Tom Swift. Tom Swift was canceled after 5 episodes. I mean, it's finishing its run because CW has nothing else to put in its place other than repeats. It has nothing else to put there. But Netflix is a streaming site. They got plenty to put in there. All they could do is hide the product in the algorithm a la Cuties, if you remember that little debacle. But, when you have Resident Evil that has really nothing to really... Let's put it this way. Day of the Dead, the series that was on Sci-Fi, was a much better zombie flick, zombie series, which it was horrible in itself, but it had more to do with zombies than this Resident Evil. And the thing about it is the shilling for it from IGN and GameSpot and a couple others saying that this is the best adaptation ever. Oh my God. Who's paying you? How much is Netflix paying you? How much is the production company paying you to say this? I miss the days of Siskel and Ebert, where Siskel and Ebert would tell you straight out, this is a garbage film. They may both agree or disagree with each other. And that's the way it should be. If the film isn't that great, we should be able to say, hey, look, it's not that great. If a series is horrible, we should be able to say it's horrible.
It stinks.
But these networks, they push because they put all this money into it. And they're continuing it because they try to sell it to streaming to make back what they lost. There's going to be a point where some of the streaming sites are just going to say, F you, we don't want it. We don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. because you got companies like Tubi TV and Apple making deals left and right. Same thing with Crackle. Same thing with Pluto. That they're all making deals off to the side for other stuff. Tubi TV has just signed a licensing deal with the National Film Board of Canada, and they've also signed with Lionsgate as well. Apple TV has signed on for the MLS and a couple of other things onto their site as well. You know, Disney just lost the cricket on theirs, so it shows you how much harm it could do to you, because you could lose 20 million subscribers to your site because you've lost one major thing. Stuff that people do care about. There's stuff that people do care about. That's why Squid Game did very well, because it was a good series. Now, is season 2 going to be good? I don't know. You know, Alice in Borderland, which is another one that's coming out. That's the Japanese version of it in a way. Well, it's not really Japanese. It's a game. It's one of these. How can you put it? Deathmatch type of movie, TV series. You know, where people are fighting for their life, playing a game to fight for their lives. And both Squid Game and Alice in Borderland were good series. And there was a couple other things. Last year we threw a couple of movies at you. Some of them are from Indonesia and Korea and Japan. And you notice they're making better movies. I mean, you got RRR. What is that? It's a big hit from over in India. It's already making back the money it put into it. And it didn't put much into it. I think it was 70 million. 70 million to make this epic. That's not a lot. Believe me, for the large amount of epic that they did for that movie, believe it or not, it's currently on Netflix. You gotta laugh at that. It's on Netflix. But you got smaller stuff that's out there, like Solar Opposites, What We Do in the Shadows, which is both are going through a new season. They just What We Do in the Shadows is just now in its third going into fourth. Solar Opposites, they drop everything all at one time, it was pretty good. They added a new storyline to there, which was brilliant, from Justin Roiland, one of the guys from Rick and Morty. You know, there is content out there that's good. There are shows that are out there that are good. They don't get the light of day proper. And everybody was like, you know, and the other part of it, about, you know, and I've put this up, and I keep putting this up, and I keep telling people, and they dismiss this. This is what the writers' rooms are getting. These are the sheets that the writers' rooms are getting on there. It's not only this page, it's many other pages from every demographic that you could put in, and it tells you the do's and don'ts. This is the Hays Code 2.0. I've been warning you. This is what's going on in Netflix right now. Netflix was a giant. I said it first. Netflix will be the big winner in the streaming wars. That has changed. That has now changed. They're losing subscribers. They're bleeding right now, and they don't realize it. They're not going to realize it until it's too late. This is why I keep talking about Tubi TV. I keep talking about Crackle. All these smaller sites that are growing exponentially very quickly. Crackle has just signed on to expedite some stuff back on. They've just contracted on to get back on Fire Sticks and many other devices with a new website that will allow them to put out more penetration to their viewers and allow them to track who's watching what on what commercial and all that, so they can get back to their sponsors that they're able to sell it, and also the people that are putting money into the company. I mean, this is an endeavor on these smaller sites that are just going to be the next level. Pluto TV was the start. Tubi TV and Crackle and a couple others are the future. Think about that for a moment. You may criticize some of the decisions Tubi TV as far as the content that's on there. Yeah, they got a little of this and a little of that. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's in between, some of it's marvelous. But they're getting movies, stuff that people want to see, especially the classics. Classics are what's in. MeTV, Antenna TV, Heroes and Icon, Decades. These are channels that are doing very well on broadcast television. Take a moment, go on to Facebook, look at the Svengoolie groups that are in there. They're constantly talking about Saturday Night Spanguli. They made it almost like it's a sporting event, and it's growing every day. And they talk about more than that than classic films. They talk about the stuff on there. There is a noir group in there talking about classic films. There are other groups on there. I mean, there's a Netflix group, obviously. But what I'm reading from it, a lot of people are upset on the direction Netflix has gone. I was upset. I mean, going to $20 a month? They could have done, that's what I was paying. They could have done better and done a ad base, which they're going to do. They didn't have to go to 20. I would have been satisfied if they stayed at 12. 15 was going a little bit above, and as soon as they got into the 20, that's when the point was like, it's time to go. I don't subscribe to Netflix. I don't subscribe to Amazon. I don't subscribe to Disney Plus. I don't subscribe to Apple, which all of them I've had subscriptions. Some of them free, some of them I paid. Apple was free because I have an Apple phone. I have an iPhone. They gave me a year or two free. I canceled my subscription partway through. I canceled. I could not get into the programming they had. I refused to get Peacock. I refused to get Paramount. All these others that, they've taken away good shows out, like Star Trek. It's hard to get the original series. So, guess what? I got them all on Blu-ray and a backup on DVD. I'll watch it that way because I have it all set up nicely with my Blu-ray player. Pop my disc in, and that's it. I don't need those pay extra for those streaming sites. I enjoy a lot of the stuff that's on Tubi TV. I enjoy a lot of stuff that's on Pluto. I have a site similar to Pluto by Samsung. It's their own Samsung TV, which has similar channels like Pluto. I get 2 channels of Doctor Who and 2 channels of Mystery Science Theater 3000. They're playing different things. So if I don't want to watch one particular one, I can go to another. The other day, I was watching Dark Shadows. The original Dark Shadows. All the fun all in one. So Netflix, please do clean up. Do not end up to be the next CW. Because you see what happened to the CW. They're getting sold off to a big conglomerate that owns a lot of TV shows. And the programming that's there may not be the programming that will be later. Arrowverse is considered RIP dead. I think HBO Max is going to continue it on their streaming site as soon as this deal is over. So you tell me how you feel. Comment, subscribe, like, share. We'll see you on the next one. Stay cool. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye now.